The fourth case is a 40-year-old male with no history of travel but contact with persons with recent travel into Saint Lucia. He came into our healthcare facility on March 25th. All of the 4 cases were captured through our community respiratory clinic. Since their diagnosis, they have been placed in isolation at a medical facility. Our teams are currently in the field undertaking tracing of the contacts of these cases. St. Lucia's 3 facility-based quarantine sites continue to house over 300 persons. To date, none of these individuals have displayed any signs or symptoms of COVID-19, and given that they remain asymptomatic, the first group of persons are scheduled to be discharged from facility-based quarantine this weekend. The Department of Health implores everyone to support the national scale-down and curfew measures that have been put in place to protect the health and safety of every citizen. These measures, if adhered to by each and every individual, shall significantly slow down the spread of COVID-19. On its own, the virus is unable to spread. As such, remaining at home, avoiding social and recreational activities, the potential of an outbreak of COVID-19 is significantly reduced. Though keeping these social distance measures may be challenging for some and very different from what we know to be the normal, its benefit in the prevention of local transmission surpasses any inconveniences we face. We continue to advise the public on standard recommendations to prevent the spread of infection. We also ask the public to keep your immune system high by ensure that you are eating healthy while at home. That is a diet made of fruits and vegetables, and also to get whatever exercise that you can get at home and in your yard. By keeping a good immune system, you'll reduce your possible chances of developing COVID-19 if you were to be in contact with someone who has it. As usual, the Department of Health and Wellness, we will continue providing regular updates on COVID-19.
Personal risk reduction is important. Germs are everywhere, and you can reduce your risk of infection by practicing some basic infection control measures. Taking the stairs, avoid touching the railing. If taking the elevator, ensure you use hand sanitizer immediately after exiting the elevator. Hand sanitizers with 60% or more alcohol are great to use, so have some readily available on your desk for quick use. Have your own personal bottle to carry with you when away from running water and soap. Germs can spread easily and be anywhere. Be sure to wipe down or disinfect desks, telephones, and keyboards. Washing your hands often will reduce the spread of germs, but you must wash them as recommended. Masks and gloves serve a purpose and provide protection when used in the recommended settings and when used correctly. They are not practical for the office or business place and can lead to the further spread of germs when used badly. Use only if you are coughing and or sneezing or taking care of someone who is ill with flu-like symptoms. For more information, call the Ministry of Health and Wellness at 468-5347, 468-5349, or 468-5350.
Good day, viewers, and welcome once again to the command center right here at the studios of GIS. We're live on NTN, the National Television Network, and we're also joined by several of our media partners. Of course, this is the official station, the official network for bringing you all the up-to-date messages, press conferences, and information with regards to COVID-19. And speaking about up-to-date, we have the most recent press release from the Department of Health and Wellness, and I will just read out the essence of this press release. On the evening of Monday, March 30th, the laboratory director, the Ezra Long Laboratory, diagnosed an additional 4 cases of COVID-19, bringing the total of confirmed cases in Saint Lucia to 13 to date. The first case is a 37-year-old female with no travel history, but was in contact with someone within the tourism industry. She presented to our health facility on March 23rd. The second case is a 34-year-old female with no travel history and no known contact with someone with significant travel history, and presented to the healthcare facility on March 24th. The third case is a 54-year-old female with no travel history and came into the healthcare facility on March 24th. The fourth case is a 40-year-old male with no travel history but contact with persons with recent travel into Saint Lucia. He came into a healthcare facility on March 25th. All of these cases were captured through our community respiratory clinics. Since the diagnosis, they have been placed in isolation at a medical facility. Our teams are currently in the field undertaking tracing of the contacts of these cases. St. Lucia's 3 facility-based quarantine sites continue to house 300 persons, over 300 persons. To date, none of these individuals have displayed any signs or symptoms of COVID-19. And given that they remain asymptomatic, the first group of persons are scheduled to be discharged from facility-based quarantine this weekend. The Department of Health implores everyone to support the national scale-down and curfew measures which have been put in place to protect the health and safety of every citizen. These measures, if adhered to by each and every individual, shall significantly slow down the spread of COVID-19. On its own, the virus is unable to spread. Rather, people spread the virus. As such, by remaining at home, avoiding social and recreational activities, the potential of an outbreak of COVID-19 is significantly reduced. Though keeping these social distance measures may be challenging for some and very different from what we know to be normal, its benefit in preventing of local transmission surpasses any inconvenience we face. So there you have it, an update. We now have 4 new cases, bringing our total cases tested in Saint Lucia, positive cases, to 13. And at present, we have over 300 persons in quarantine. One of those persons we have been able to make contact with who is in quarantine is our St. Lucian singer, popular singer, Claudia Edward. And we're now going to take a listen and watch her message while she is in quarantine. Do we have that video ready, Roger?
Thank you.
Any sore throat?
No sore throat.
Cough?
No coughing.
Difficult breathing?
No.
Headache?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So just had my temperature taken. Just woke us up. for a loud thump on your door every morning. Take your temperature, ask you the questions, and yeah. Good morning, by the way. Good morning.
How you doing?
I'm fine.
All right, that's good. You going out for a morning jog?
No, I already worked out.
Okay.
Thank you. So my breakfast is here. Okay, it's time for my push-ups. Good morning, everybody. Hi, everybody. Temperature check out of the way, breakfast out of the way, workout out of the way. I'm here. And a lot of my friends and even people I don't know, they're on social media, or they say to me, I really wish this thing would go away. I'm so tired of being home. I'm bored. And I say to you, I wish I was home. I wish I was where you are. And then when I feel depressed and I'm overcome with sadness by being here, I think there are people who wish they were here. Those people in the hospital, my heart goes out to you. This is so tough on everybody, some more than others. And I have no doubt that a lot of people will need emotional help, emotional support when this life episode is all over.
We have food, we have bed to sleep, we have television, we have fridge.
You go to the beach sometimes?
Oh yes, I'm enjoying the beach.
All right. So where did you come from when you came here? Martinique?
Yeah.
Were you one of those giving trouble?
Oh no.
Okay.
From Saturday, what I'm not eating, okay, they claim they ask you what you're not eating, what you're eating.
Right.
You wrote it down.
After viewing the temperature check today, maybe you realize, even the breakfast clip, that people here, the staff, they're taking this very serious. Everybody's in protective gear. My AC has gone bad 3 times. And every time I call, somebody comes to fix it. And he's wearing full protective gear. So in terms of the staff being properly geared for protecting us here and themselves, I give them an A. Why not an A plus? I don't know. I just think if I say A plus, then they'll relax, and I don't want them to relax. I want them to always take this serious.
And that was Claudia Edwards, one of our popular Saint Lucian entertainers. And let me just stress here, because I know how quick it is for fake news to go around and make the rounds. Claudia Edwards has not, and let me just stress, she has not been tested positive for COVID-19. We just thought we would use a clip of her showing what it's like being in quarantine. She came into Saint Lucia during the period where it was mandatory for all persons coming into the island were to be in quarantine. So she's one of those. And as the notice have said, Saint Lucia's 3 facility-based quarantine sites continue to house over 300 persons. And to date, none of these individuals have displayed any signs or symptoms of COVID-19. And given that they remain asymptomatic, the first group of persons are scheduled to be discharged from facility-based quarantine this weekend. We're due for our first break, and when we come back, we'll introduce you to our in-studio guests. Stay tuned.
Wash your hands, wash them before
eating or handling food or caring for infants, sick or elderly people.
wash your hands, wash them after.
Using the toilet, touching raw meat, handling pets and livestock, playing outdoors, cleaning or handling waste and garbage.
Wash your hands, wash them often.
You are going right when you make a habit of washing your hands several times a day.
This message brought to you courtesy the Bureau of Health Education of the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
And welcome back to our COVID-19 response here at the Command Center at the studios of GIS. You're watching us live on NTN, and we're joined by several of our media partners across Saint Lucia. As we've been saying, COVID-19, this pandemic, although it may not infect many of us, but it's going to affect all of us, and it has been impacting all of us. And one sector that it has not spared is the artistic, the creative community. We heard the announcement last week that Carnival 2020 has been cancelled. Some persons have been saying postponed, but I prefer saying that it's cancelled because next year, hopefully 2021, we will have a whole new package of Carnival. In studio with me is the reigning Calypso monarch, Dennis Leo, better known as Ticaro. He's also a teacher, and he's also part owner of Caro's Kitchen. So all three of those areas have been impacted by COVID-19. So we're going to take them one at a time. Let's talk about you as the Calypso, the reigning monarch. At what point did it occur to you that, hey, this thing is serious?
Before I answer the question, I'd like to thank you first for giving me the opportunity to be here. I mean, I think it's indeed a blessing, and it's also a very timely thing because considering what's going on in St. Lucia and the world, I think my presence here may have some influence as to some of the behaviors and some of the practices that some of our people actually undertake.
Most definitely.
In answering your question, at what point it did? To be honest with you, I am somebody, I keep myself very, very much informed. So I was always abreast with what's going on internationally in relation to the COVID virus. And I really didn't want it to reach St. Lucia, honestly.
Like all of us.
I was like itching for it not to reach St. Lucia. But when I began to see that it was in Martinique, and then in Trinidad, and in, I think, St. Vincent, and Grenada, and Jamaica, and I'm like, okay, it's going to come here. It's going to be here soon. But in the midst of all of that, I said to myself, we have a very capable health sector, very capable health minister, and the government seemed to be moving in the right direction. So, I mean, I'm not a medical practitioner in any way, but I'm aware that they would have been putting contingency plans in place for it. So I was, in as much as I didn't want it to get here, and then there was the eminence that it would come, I was confident that our government would do well enough to have it as regulated and contained. But as soon as the first case was mentioned, and I realized how people began to react, the reaction was clear in town. Everything became very somber. The number of persons walking through town decreased considerably. I mean, and then school suspended, and I'm like, this thing is really serious. So that's when I began to realize that people started to leave the social life. People were less and fewer out there. And it really dawned on me that, wow, this thing is really, really serious. This thing is really serious.
How did you take the news that Carnival 2020, you may not get a chance to defend your crown this year?
Well, it was bittersweet. Bittersweet. Bitter in the sense that I was really looking forward to doing it. In fact, my production was already well on the way. Our songs are written. We were putting together our presentation and getting our cast. We were just about putting our music together and everything. And so that was like the bitter part. I didn't get to do that. But I guess the sweet part of it is I get to reign for another year. I get to reign for another year. I mean, and I kind of enjoyed the reign. And not, to be honest with you, in as much as it's Calypso, the reign for me was Little Calypso. It was more about meeting people and making them understand that if you have goals, go after it. If you want to achieve things, don't let anybody stand in your way. Because, I mean, many persons had said to me, you're not going to ever win. And then I persisted, and it happened. So I spent a lot of my time trying to inspire people, inspiring young men, especially the RC boys, getting music ready for them. In fact, we were just on the verge of putting together the RC Jam cast and writing the music for them. And, you know, and then all of this just kind of like caved in, and it all just went to a screeching halt. And I'm like, wow, look at where we are now. Look at where we are now.
You now belong to a new entity in the Fraternity, Balance Inc.
Yes.
What has been the discussions with the group as far as COVID-19, your own response to it? Now that Carnival is no more for 2020, will there be a possibility of probably, as soon as we get over this thing, that maybe towards the end of the year, once the all clear is given, putting on something for your fans, for your Calypso lovers? What sort of discussions have you guys been having?
Well, let me tell you, this group is so active. There's so many discussions going on all day long that I could hardly keep up. But I'll try to summarize what I think I've read and what we have discussed. The thing about it is this group really, the intention is to look after the artists. I mean, artists have been denied so much, you know. But on the onset of the COVID, everybody's direction moved towards saving our lives and being safe, being protected. Because it makes no sense to be an artist and then you expose yourself and you're not able to do it when the time comes. So and thanks to the interim body there, these guys are feverishly working and ensuring that every day there are updates and they keep us abreast with what's going on internationally, what's going on locally. The move, I'm very sure that this information you read earlier on about the 4 new cases, I'm sure that this was already in the group. Once it's out there, we sensitize our members and we let them know, listen, stay safe, do what you have to do. If you don't have to go out, don't. In fact, I think there is the encouragement to stay in and present like short skits, little track songs to inspire people, help them to stay home. Staying home, let me tell you, it's tough to stay home. For somebody like me, I don't like to be home, and I'm telling you, it's tough. And I can understand why people want to go around and want to move, because it's not something you're accustomed to. So, I mean, like, what you need to begin to do, and that's what the group seems to be pushing, whilst you are in, find things to do to keep you entertained. Write songs, speak to your friends, make funny things, do stuff that would keep you from having to be so lonely and so feel so depressed and so down and make the situation even more grave than it already is. Yeah.
Well, while you're on that page, maybe you could appeal to your fans, your supporters, persons in the Calypso fraternity, the whole messaging of social distancing and staying at home.
Well, I'm happy that if you could see us on television now, right here on NTN, Tony and myself, certainly we are socially distant. You could see we're not close to each other. We are actually practicing this. So I want to appeal to the people of Saint Lucia. Let me say to you, I mean, I know it is tough, because even for me as a reigning Calypso monarch, it is tough for me when I walk through the streets and people call me. Normally I would shake your hand, give you a hug, give a little inspiration. It's tough going around and just having to wave at you. But it's all for the benefit of the greater good. So I want to advise people, do it, follow the rules, people. Stay the distance. If you have to stay about 6 feet, I think is the way, stay 6 feet. If you don't need to be out there, do not go. If you're not going out for something important by people, do not go. Please stay home. Entertain yourself at home. Thank you. Do what is right. You will get through. We will get through this.
Thank you for that. And when we come back with you for another break right now, when we come back, we'll speak a little about your role as a teacher and also as a restaurateur.
In a world where germs are widespread, comes a group of superhero germ busters, the germaphores.
We spend most of our time fighting germs every day of the week. After I play, I wash my hands. Before I eat, I wash my hands. After I play with my puppy, I wash my hands. I cover my sneezes with my forearm or elbow when I am in public. And I cover my cough to avoid spreading dangerous germs. We are the germaphobes, germ-busting superheroes. You can be too. Always wash your hands and cover your sneeze and cough. Let's stop the spread of menacing germs.
We'll be back, germaphobes, with more powerful germs.
And we will be waiting to prevent you from spreading.
Command Center studios of GIS. In studio with me is Dennis Leo, stage name Tikaro, who is the reigning Calypso monarch, and also a teacher. Let's talk about your role as a teacher and how have you been reaching out to your students during this unexpected break?
Well, it's kind of tough, I must say, to reach out to them because, I mean, I teach music at the RC Boys School and I'm not confined to a class.
Right.
I actually teach the entire school music. So that's like 400 and something boys, right? So it's kind of tough to reach out, especially considering that this came at a time when we were not, let's say, prepared for it. So we didn't have social media all well set up to facilitate it. However, I am still in the midst of persons who are working, like we have groups at the school, the teachers. So we constantly discuss what the plan is for the students. Some of the teachers do have like WhatsApp groups for their classes. So as the information goes through the groups, they would disseminate them to the individual students in the classroom.
What would you like to say to your students who may be watching, listening to you right now?
Well, I mean, I don't think I want to say anything other than, boys, if you do not have anything to do in town, you don't have anything to do outside, stay at home. Stay home. Do some reading, do some mathematics. You can also play games on your phone. You can go online. You can speak to your friends on WhatsApp. You can make funny videos. Do whatever you can to keep you entertained, but stay at home. Do not leave the house if you do not have something very important to do. Stay home. And of course, even though you are young, and I think the discussion is like young children are not so much affected by the virus, it is still possible for you to contract the virus and pass it on to your grandmother, pass it on to your mother, and you can hurt people who love you. So my advice to you is stay home, socially distant. Make sure you do that. When you go with your friends, tell them, remind them, we must not be too close. Let's stay at least 6 feet away and let us have fun, and at the same time preserve our lives and the lives of the persons who see about us, like our mothers, grandmothers, grandfathers, etc.
You said earlier on that when the news first broke that we were seeing cases in Saint Lucia, you realized that, you know, the movement in town was less and what have you. But as of this week, we're seeing a lot of things via social media, videos of person congregating and socializing. What do you have to say about it?
Tony, let me tell you, every time I click my phone and a video shows me people doing that kind of thing, you know, I have never been more disappointed. I have never been more disappointed in certain people. Persons doing that, it is sad and it is foolish. I mean, come on. The idea is not to keep you at home. I'm hearing people preferring obscenities at the police, at the prime minister. I mean, how much more irresponsible can you get? People of Saint Lucia, we take things much too lightly. We just take things too lightly. I mean, if a hurricane is coming, people take it lightly. This one is even worse than a hurricane. If it takes you, people, you can die. It can really harm you. As Tony said, it may not affect you as an individual, but everybody will be impacted, especially considering, you see, the economic impact. That's where many people are going to feel it. We are going to feel it in our pockets. And the only solution, my friends, is to ensure that we do what we have to do now, so that our period of sacrifice may be as brief as possible, so that we can return to work and return to normalcy. People, I plead with you, listen to the authorities, listen to the health people, listen, they know better. They have the statistics, they have the stuff. And stop disrespecting the Prime Minister and those in authority. Thank you.
Talking about the economic impact, Carol's restaurant, very popular in the city. I mean, not a day goes by when you're open that, you know, you don't have a flood of influx of persons. All of this have gone to a standstill. Speak to that.
Well, certainly Carol's Kitchen, like you just said, is known for probably the best food in Castries and maybe in Saint Lucia, and maybe the Caribbean and the world as well. But, you know, I don't want to be biased and create any individualistic and egotistic kind of. The fact of the matter remains, as much as Carol's Kitchen is affected, it's not my business alone that is affected. The whole of Saint Lucia, all businesses are closed. Everybody is affected, which means that this situation is not a Carol's Kitchen, it's a Saint Lucia thing. So whilst I want to appeal to my customers that, hey, I'm sorry that the situation is like that, but it's something that we all have to deal with. All the entire corporate society have to deal with it. So Carol's Kitchen feels it for you as a customer, but we also share in the pain that it brings every other business in Saint Lucia. And we hope that, because Carol's Kitchen is not an entity that functions on its own, it is part of a dynamic that includes every other business. We depend on other businesses to survive, with our meat supplies, etc. So it's not just us as an individual, but every business in Saint Lucia is affected. And Carol's Kitchen wants to just send out to all the businesses, you know, just take care, take heart. We will soon get back together, and we will do it again. We will rise again. We'll make it happen. Carol's Kitchen will be feeding Saint Lucia again, and all the corporate people are going to come back together, and our economy will rise again.
And I think this is the message. I'm happy that you mentioned about your intertwining business. We are all connected. We are all interconnected. Sometimes we say this, and we don't really think about it, but our day-to-day business in whatever sector we are depend on another sector. And at this point in time, we're all in this together. And to succeed and to come through this alive, or to have the lessening impact on this thing, we must all join in to do the social distancing, the staying at home, the listening to the authorities, taking heed to official messages and not fake news, and just being responsible citizens. I think that's the key thing, being more responsible in our actions, because our actions will affect and impact others.
Certainly. And Tony, let me just say this. I mean, I've listened to many different elements of this, but the one that troubles me the most is the persons who are coming through the back doors. I mean, that is disturbing to me. I thought about this, and I'm saying, but it is possible for me to get infected by somebody who decides to break the law and come through the back, and I had nothing to do with that person. So my appeal, you know, really and truly, and I'm getting the feeling that those people don't just decide to come back to Saint Lucia, a lot of them. There are persons in Saint Lucia who are paying, maybe bus drivers, taxi drivers, to meet them in those remote areas, to pick them up. I want to appeal to you, do not do that, people. Do not do it. It may cost you your life. It may cost you your life. And innocent people could get caught in this. Do not do it. You are in Martinique. I'm sure Martinique have, the health services are superior enough to take care of you. Stay there and let them help you contain it. You have a better chance of survival than to come and infect many people and put us in a situation where our health services are under pressure.
Thank you very much for that final appeal. Carol, again, we're appealing to St. Lucians. These are trying times. It's very difficult to stay at home if you're a very sociable person going out all the time, but it is something we need to adhere to if we are to come out of this better and stronger and as a more resilient people. So this is our final appeal here to you today. Stay tuned to NTN for factual information, for up-to-date information, and we'll be here with you again all day tomorrow and into the coming weeks for as long as it takes to keep on bringing that information, relevant information to you, timely information. Stay away from the fake news and stay tuned to NTN for reliable and correct information. I thank you.
Thank you very much.